Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Impression Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jasmine Pollock, and today we're going to have a short show today. Cole and Anthony will be back next week to talk a little bit more about more sports. We're going to dive into a lot of different topics because we're heading into that, that little slow time of the year. Football, NBA, hockey season is obviously they're both coming to a close with the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. So we're really going to talk more and get into some more deep topics that will interest everyone. So just to start off, we're going to be talking about the game two of the NBA Finals between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have taken a 2-0 commanding lead in this NBA Finals with the help of Jrue Holiday having 26 points last night in a game where Jason Tatum was not good. I mean, when we're talking about not good, he only had 2 points at half. He started picking it up. I think he really started to tighten up defensively for sure. His length helped a lot to keep Luka in check, and definitely he was put on Kyrie a lot. But the biggest thing that Tatum contributed to was definitely getting to the free throw line and having over 10 assists to his team. So that's a big deal for them winning. And when we look at this game, the difference between the game to me was definitely the free throw line. The Boston Celtics only missed one free throw. They were 19 of 20 from the field. That means they were 95%, whereas we had Dallas with 66% from the field. That is not going to get it done, especially on the road where you have to kind of win this game because now you're in a two-hole deficit, whether you could have been 1-1 or tied the series. Luka had a phenomenal game. He had over 30 points, but he started to slow down in the second half. The Boston Celtics were able to double team him and do different things like that to make it very hard for him to get into lanes, but he still was able to pass the ball off and get it off, but a lot of them did not get the three-point shots off. Both teams were poor from the the three-point line with 20% from each, so they both were struggling from the three-point line. Kyrie Irving had 16 points. That's not going to cut it in a game where you have to tie the series, and you're the second option on the team. You and Luka are the two guys that they look to for scoring. So I expected Kyrie to have a better game. He was missing a lot of shots that we normally don't see him miss. So I do think in this series, this series is going to be a long series. I do think now that the series shifts back to Dallas, they're heading back home. I do think Dallas is able to even the series at home. I think they're going to tighten a lot of things up. Defensively, they did not play bad. They played a lot better than they did in their blowout game in game one, so that was a big deal for them. However, they need to get better at the free throw line. Kyrie Irving has to score 25 points each night in this series in order for Dallas to keep up and to even the series. But both teams, to me, played sloppy basketball last night. Both teams had turnovers. Boston had 10. The Mavericks had 15. So both teams were looking a little sloppy. Both teams were not doing well from the three-point line, like I said before. So I think both teams are going to clean up a little bit of things, but this series has been a little bit sloppy for both teams. We're expecting some great basketball. I think Tatum's going to get it going as well, but they have pretty much done a good job on Tatum making him uncomfortable, putting longer guys on him because we know he's a long guy and he's able to do a lot of things. They're not allowing him to get to his spots like he's more comfortable with. Jaylen Brown had 21 points. We know Jaylen Brown is going to get his points one way or the other. But Jrue Holiday having 26 points last night was a huge deal for the Boston Celtics because that was someone we weren't expecting to have that. He was knocking down his shots. He was getting into the lane, and he was definitely getting after it defensively on Kyrie. So they really put emphasis on that. But we'll see. I do think, again, Dallas can even this series at home. I'm expecting a better game for both teams because I do think both teams have the jitters right now. They're both kind of like discombobulated, but I do think this series is going to clean up once they get back to Dallas. Next topic is definitely the WNBA talk. There's a lot going on in the WNBA, and there's been a lot of topics of discussion, a lot of controversial topics of discussion regarding Caitlin Clark and hating and targeting and different things like that. Look, when we talk about rookies, in any capacity of sports, any sport you think of, there's always going to be people that are going to be after the rookies. The rookies are going to have a target on their back because they're trying to break them into the pros. You're going to have guys and women who have competed for 10 plus years that, oh, I see this rookie, they did phenomenal in college, but this is the pros. That's going to happen. And I think Caitlin Clark is experiencing that. However, that elbow that she took was not competitive at all. That has a lot to do with hatred. I do not appreciate that. That is not basketball. That is not what basketball stands for when we're elbowing people and, causing a scene and then doubling down after the fact, saying that, oh, besides the 3-point line, what does she do? We're not going to do that. We are not going to diminish Caitlin Clark just because you had a good game or you beat them. We're not doing that. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal basketball player. She has done a lot of great things for not just college basketball, but for the WNBA as a whole. She has changed the landscape of the WNBA along with Angel Reese and Cameron Brink and a lot of those young women that have contributed in basketball. So we're not going to disregard what she is. She is phenomenal. However, the Fever is not the best team. Obviously, they had to have the back-to-back number 1 overall picks with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark this year. So, of course, they're still trying to build a team around Caitlin and Aaliyah. They're trying to build this team up to get some wins, to compete at the highest level. But right now, I think Caitlin Clark is accepting the challenge. I think this is going to make her better. She has competed at a great level. She just had a phenomenal game this past weekend. And I think we need to acknowledge that these young women are physical. These young women are playing at a high level. You look at Angel Reese, for her doing what she's doing, having a double-double every game. That is a record breaking itself. Caitlin Clark, she's the highest scoring rookie right now in the league. They're doing a lot of phenomenal things. Cameron Brink. You look at a lot of these women, they're doing a lot of great things, but you still have the veterans in the league who are competing as well. So there's a lot of competitiveness going on the women's basketball court. But let's not let this not overshadow what the Las Vegas Aces are doing and what A'ja Wilson is doing. She is the best basketball player right now in the WNBA. She is the 3rd highest basketball player in women's history to have consecutive games scoring 20 plus points. She is phenomenal. She's getting blocks. She's scoring 20 plus a game. She had 30 plus last night against the Sparks. So she is competing at a high level. And the Aces are the team to beat. They're the back-to-back champs. They're trying to get to a 3-peat. And I know me and my producer were talking before the show about 3-peats and 4-peats in sports. So that's something to keep an eye out for that in the WNBA. But I think that the WNBA, they're doing a great job of marketing all these women and putting these women on a pedestal. I think it's phenomenal for the game. And ironically, all this stuff talked about with Caitlin Clark, this is actually good in a weird way for the WNBA because now people are going to be like, oh, they're hating on Caitlin. Let me go watch. Or this is what's happening. Or they're getting chippy. They're doing this, that, and the third. So this is very good essentially for the WNBA because now it's gaining more traction. I saw a stat a couple of days ago where one of Caitlin Clark's games had more viewership than game 1 of the NBA Finals. That's a very big deal. And I don't know if that's that's obviously the WNBA, climbing up in the ranks, but where's the NBA headed, as far as viewership, because we've seen the viewership starting to decrease down through the years in the NBA. So this is a big deal for women's basketball and women's sports in general because it's going to continue to climb, it's going to continue to do great things. And I just love that these women are getting their shine and getting their just due. They should have gotten this a long time ago, but of course you need young women like Caitlin Clark, young women like Angel Reese, and plenty others that are to come that are putting them at a great light and a great spotlight for them. So this is really exciting. As for Caitlin Clark not being on the USA women's Olympic team, what can I say? So I saw 2 sides of this. I saw some fans saying that she doesn't need to be on because she hasn't accomplished anything in the pros. Okay. But then you have some like this girl has done what men and women didn't do in the collegiate level in basketball for us points. Now I can agree with both sides, but I'm going to say this. Caitlin Clark is an anomaly. She's an anomaly. We have never seen someone like this, especially on the women's side. We have never seen a woman come in the way she did and how she was able to score that many points in her collegiate level, her career in college. having the most points of any player on both sides in basketball has never happened. So having her on the Olympics team, that's not going to hurt anyone. That's going to propel you, because that, not only that would benefit the team, that will benefit her as well, because that will put her at a light. And I think that is well deserving, because now she's starting to become well known, not just in America, but across the world. A lot of people are saying that, man, this woman can play some basketball. And there's a lot of phenomenal women on the USA team. We understand that. But Caitlin Clark missing is pretty interesting. I do think there's like I said, there is hatred and jealousy in certain places, but I do think this is ultimately going to build Caitlin Clark a lot better. She's going to be a lot more up for the challenges, because there is a target on her back. That's just what's going to happen. She's a rookie, and especially what she was able to accomplish and the media coverage she has been able to get. Of course, they're going to have a target on her back, but this is only going to make her better. This is going to make her wanting to be hungry more. And a hungry Caitlin Clark sounds scary to me, because she's already a phenomenal basketball player. So now that she's getting this quote unquote unfair treatment, and I'm saying quote unquote because I'm not saying it's unfair, but this is just what the media is pushing, this unfair treatment, this is only going to make her more hungry, and she's going to get better over time. Can you imagine her getting better? She's already great, but having her get better at this and going in the gym, and we'll see what the Fever is going to do. They can get some wins and maybe get into the playoffs, but they're not the better teams. They're one of the lower teams in the league, but they're building around Caitlin. I think in the next coming years, there will be a force to be reckoned with. And shout out to Angel Reese. I think Angel Reese is doing a phenomenal job as well with the Chicago Sky. I'm really excited for her. I'm excited for Cameron Brink with the LA Sparks, but let's not let, again, this overshadow what the Las Vegas Aces are doing. They're the defending champs for back-to-back years. They're looking for that 3P, and it looks like they're not stopping, because A'ja Wilson is the best player in the WNBA right now. That's just what it is. She is competing. She is the face right now to me, and she has been the face for the past couple of years in the WNBA. That wraps up this show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and I look to continue to give you guys content. It feels good to be back on the show. I've been off for the past 3 weeks, traveling and different things like that. So I'm really excited to be back, and we're going to be talking about a lot more topics. A lot more good things are coming from First Impression Sports Talk. A lot of things to look forward to. Thank you, Jay, for the production. And I wanted to do a special shout out to the Florida Panthers. Even though I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, it's always good to see a Florida team winning in the highest level. They take a 1-0 lead over Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup final. This is really exciting. So they're looking to get their first ever win. The Panthers are in the Stanley Cup. Hopefully, the Stanley Cup stays in Florida. For the past 5 years, a Florida team has been in the Stanley Cup, whether it's the Lightning or the Panthers. That is a great, great statistic that, I don't know. That's just a great statistic. I love seeing that. Florida's winning. I'm a Florida native, so this is really exciting for me to see. But shout out to the Florida Panthers, and we'll see them, compete. Hopefully they can get a 2-0 lead. We're rooting for them. So that wraps up the show. Thank you again, Jay. Thank you, everyone, for your support. We'll see you guys next week for more First Impression Sports Talk.